Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all having an incredible day and that you're all doing well. To start things off, another popular cryptocurrency analyst believes that it's entirely plausible the price of Bitcoin will plunge following the halving. He argued that exchanges offering futures trading will induce the biggest sell pressure on the market, with a third Bitcoin halving scheduled to take place in about a day and a half, 2 days. Speculations regarding potential price effects continue to spiral. There we go, it's not the same word. Popular on-chain analyst Willy Woo believes that after the event, miners will cease to be the biggest sellers of Bitcoin. They will be replaced by large exchanges selling Bitcoin fees into fiat. He said, "You can think of exchanges as tax agents on traders. That tax extracted in fees in Bitcoin gets dumped onto the market and sold for fiat. It's similar to miners whose coins gained by diluting the supply get dumped on the market. That new demand needs to be absorbed." Sure, we'll clarify the difference between exchanges selling the fees and traders buying or selling. When users are buying or selling assets, every trade is matched, meaning for every sell, no matter how massive it is, there's a buyer on the other side. However, miners selling their reward in exchanges selling the fees that they have collected are only two unmatched sell pressures on the market. Following the halving, the reward for miners will be cut in half. Consequently, they will have significantly less freshly minted Bitcoin to sell. On the other hand, the role of cryptocurrency exchanges, especially those offering futures trading, has been increasing in the past few years. I mean, I guess you can technically say years. Anyway, I guess this is more of a keep this in mind kind of thing. I don't know or can't really say for certain if exchanges are going to be the biggest sellers of Bitcoin after the halving has taken place, but just understand that this is a constantly repeated idea that any type of hype or movement up in price that we may be experiencing right now will be evenly matched by some type of a selling pressure and or people simply selling because they once again assume that other people are going to sell. This is usually what they it kind of happens in all markets. If you see that someone else is selling and you expect them to also sell, and you have a huge amount of anything to sell onto the market, other people also begin to, I want you the word dump their Bitcoin onto the market, but you kind of understand the meaning of it. Anyway, yeah, we're getting a lot of news about this right now. It's funny how a day changes things. The last 2 or 3 weeks, all the news that we had were the amazing, significantly awesome, bullish movements of the cryptocurrency market. And I guess now we're getting a lot of, I saw trickles of news like this talking about what could happen to Bitcoin post-halving. But I think a lot of this will be like immediate post-halving. I think we have like a good week or two. I give it a week when we start seeing prices like really going down. Once again, I expect a $7,700 or an $8,200 Bitcoin. It just feels right as far as how much pressure we're going to be seeing. But for those of you who are true believers, this may then once again be, what's wrong with my English? Like, why can't I keep missing a word in between my sentences? Like, I can't even do it like fakely, like to kind of like show you an example. I just keep missing that one word as I'm trying to hold a sentence together. The point is, if you are looking or potentially looking to pick up some more Bitcoin for a cheaper price, this may be your chance on Tuesday, if not Monday afternoon. I don't know the exact time that it's going to take place. Anyway, that's the Bitcoin price news, if you kind of want to say that much. And yeah, let's move on. Next up, a proposal from Ripple that allows users to delete their accounts just passed. The proposal went live on the XRP ledger on Friday after receiving support from 80% of the Ripple-approved validators that power the network. The idea was first introduced by Ripple software engineer Nick Bougalas and is popular among crypto enthusiasts looking for a way to retrieve small amounts of XRP that until now have remained locked in their accounts. Before the change, users had no way to completely drain an account because a minimum of 20 XRP was, you were obligated to always have that 20 XRP in your account. The idea years ago, for those of you who were not here, was that It would also help to reduce the supply, or the circulating supply of XRP. If you had tens of thousands of millions of people who were opening up XRP wallet, XRP accounts, and they had to have the minimum locked inside, well, therefore, at some point, you'd have tens of 20s of 30s of 40s of millions of XRP completely locked in these wallets. However, the discussion then became, and this happened at the end of 2017, when XRP hit around a good $3 and blah, blah, blah cents, people had around a good $60 just locked in their wallets that they could not take out. It was impossible to move. And people said, optimistically, what if one day one XRP random number is worth $1,000? You would then be obligated to have $20,000 locked in your account, and you would never be able to touch it. That was a big no-no for a lot of people, so I assume this is why this discussion came up. The new feature gives XRP holders a way to completely close an account and send the last bit of XRP to a separate address. The fee for deleting an account is 5 ZERPs. I assume, as it's currently 5, should we see an increase in price over the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years? And we do have $100 XRP, that this fee is probably also going to be lowered as well. Once again, it would cause a lot of stress for people if you had $500 locked on your computer that you simply just could not touch. Ripple is currently proposing a number of additional changes to the XRP ledger, including enhancements to escrow accounts and transaction fees. Wonderful. Do whatever you can to make it better, as it were. I never had personally a strong opinion either here nor there about the 20 XRP. It was just kind of a thing. I didn't pay it really any mind, but for a lot of people, it kind of annoyed them. I guess at some point, if you need the $60 and you cannot get rid of it, well, there you go. Anyway, yeah, that's the Ripple XRP ledger news changing for today. Wonderful. Oh, let's move on. Next up, to hear Joseph Lubin talk about the future of Consensus, the Ethereum venture studio he runs and founded in 2015. You may think it was all about the tokens, and you are probably more than likely correct. He said, "We will get back to selling a lot of tokens." He told host Anthony Sassano and Eric Connor, what happened to my neck? I'm sitting weird. During a live Into the Ether podcast at the Ethereal Virtual Summit. The conversation began with the history of Ethereum, where Lubin was one of the 5 co-founders and delved into how Consensus has changed, particularly after its recent spate of layoffs. They are not the only, first of all, we've seen the layoffs, so they're not the only crypto company and not the only company who's had layoffs. It's kind of all over the board. In its first few years, Consensus drove a lot of ICO activity as a way to crowdfund the projects it was incubating. But that slowed down in 2018 when regulators backhanded them into the street. Now Lubin said he wants to go back into selling tokens, but in a different vein. Here's where it gets weird. He says, it's all about how you sell them and how you market them. You can sell a utility token, and if you do your legal homework, wow, you ensure you are not selling it in huge quantities to speculators, and you do certain things based on the guidelines from the SEC, like basically proving buyers of the token are using it before you open it up for trading, then you've got a clean utility token. When Ethereum conducted its ICO in 2014, regulators didn't even care about the cryptocurrency space. It was something for nerds and people on the internet, but now they are, incredibly. And token projects have little wiggle room. Lubin thinks he may have found a way out of it or a way around it. This is partially why Consensus built its Codify active platform for launching tokens. So for those of you who don't know, it is widely believed that the huge run-up in Ethereum's price had to do with the amount of people who were building their tokens or platforms or coins or ICOs or whatever on top of the Ethereum network. The more people you have on top of it, the more people who are buying Ether, the more people who are so blah, 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 you know the whole story. That is one of the reasons why it is believed Ethereum went from $8 to 1,400. It had to do with the building on top of it. And this is why the news that we keep getting about the decentralized finance or DeFi people building their platforms on top of Ethereum because there's so many of them, and therefore a lot of the times they have to lock up the ether, they have to do this with the ether, and therefore the supply of circulating ether ends up decreasing. So as a lot of the ICOs have been decimated by the SEC, and some of them, very few, by the CFTC or other regulators around the world, I'm sure they're looking for a way to kind of bring back that former glory, if you kind of want to say that, because it makes sense. If you found the trick, imagine you had $8,000 at the beginning of a year, and you found a way to make that 8,000 140,000, if not 1.4 million, random numbers thrown out there. You would be doing anything you can to try and bring that back once again. So when Ethereum had their ICO in 2014, and I believe they officially launched in 2015, once again, regulators did not care. In 2018 and 19, there was a discussion if Ethereum was indeed a security, because I think Bitcoin passed the test, if you will. And then I think it was the discussion that every other coin was simply a security. We had news once or twice that apparently there were tons of people behind the scenes who were actually having discussions with the SEC, and apparently they were lawyers. And the news that we had is that the people from the SEC did not want to declare any coin that had a major backing or a huge amount of lawyers behind them as a security, simply because assumption that they had also said, well, if you declare us a security, we're going to sue the living heck out of you. And this is why thus far, I think also probably still holds true as to why we have not seen any proper clarification as to what is or is not a security. The other part being at some point in 2019, 19, sometime in the past, regulators came forward and they were like, yeah, we currently see that Ethereum is not a security. So they pretty much, in essence, were told right around here why he said you can do this and you can do that, legal homework, yada, yada. The issue is that no one wants to issue a token and have the SEC or the CFTC breathing down their neck. It's not a good look. So I assume that we're going to see a new wave of, I don't even want to call them ICOs. I don't know what letters they're going to kind of throw together to do this, but you better believe we're going to see a huge amount of things being built on top of Ethereum over the next couple of years. I assume the news, I give it a month or two. After Ethereum 2.0 has come out, we're going to start hearing about these new projects on top of it, and they're going to follow a very strict set of rules that make sure that they are declared as utility tokens, which do not fall under the purview of the SEC. And yeah, that's pretty much that. These coins have been doing fairly well, or rather Ether in this one case. Ethereum has been doing fairly well. The network, because of the amount of people who are building stuff on top of it. If you can then handle 6, 7, 8, 9, 15, 20, 35, 125,000 transactions per second, you can tell other people, hey, build it on top, but do it this way. You won't get the restrictions. You won't be followed by the SEC, and therefore the money train also continues going. So many aspects of how Ethereum could potentially be, the word isn't popular, successful. Why do I think popular? Successful, but it's all, at least to me, highly dependent on the nature of Ethereum 2.0 launching. Yeah, so get ready for it, because we're going to be, a new wave of tokens will be smacking us in the face, I assume, by the end of this year. Let's move on. Next up, Bitcoin is now an investor's best bet against central bank money printing. A new report from asset manager Grayscale has concluded. In the document titled Quantitative Tightening, the world's largest digital currency asset manager warned that unlimited fiat money supply risks debasement of the US dollar. Bitcoin, the largest cryptocurrency, it is? I didn't know that. Wow, this is news to me. Is an ideal safe haven. Its technical prowess setting aside from gold, fiat, and government bonds. Untenable levels of debt and fears of widespread default are driving the most aggressive monetary policy since Bitcoin's creation. They said fiat currencies are at risk of debasement. Government bonds reflect low or negative yield. That's crazy. Like, imagine holding a government bond and you get negative yields. It's just, what? And delivery issues highlight gold's antiquated role as a safe haven. These are limited options to hedge in an environment characterized by uncertainty. The title is another term coined to describe the effects of Bitcoin's upcoming block reward. No, that's a lot closer than that. Whereas central banks are engaging in now unlimited quantitative easing, or QE, Bitcoin supply is cutting in half. Other sources call this juxtaposition quantitative hardening, referring to Bitcoin's status as a hard money versus fiat as easy money. I just found this interesting because we keep getting news about these hedge funds and stuff like that. And while Grayscale itself is not a hedge fund, they own almost 2% of all the Bitcoin in the world. So there's some type of I think they're going to outclass hedge funds in the relative near future. We keep getting news from these major enterprises, that's not even the word, who keep talking about the greatness of Bitcoin and how Bitcoin's going to be insane. Once again, follow the money. When very big money is already talking about how cool and awesome and amazing and fascinating Bitcoin is and how much money there is to be made and how it's going to be better than gold and how it's going to be better than this, I tend to pay attention because they have the money and the money follows them, and then I also try to follow that money to make more money. That's how it works. Yeah. Let's move on. Next up, cryptocurrency exchange aggregator CoinSwitch will launch its CoinSwitch Kuber app on the 1st of June, exclusive to users in India. The mobile app will support over 100 coins, while also adding liquidity across all Indian exchanges to allow users to buy and sell using the Indian rupee. Users need to be verified with KYC and AML procedures before depositing rupees into their accounts. India has had a fairly rocky relationship, doesn't even begin to describe it, with crypto trading until March, when the Supreme Court overturned a ban that never was. That was imposed by the Royal Bank of India. For those of you who were not here, who may be new to the channel, we had a 3-year, it was quite interesting. The Reserve Bank of India declared in the beginning of 2018 that cryptocurrency trading was illegal. Cryptocurrency exchanges, cryptocurrency businesses across India closed, were not there, disappeared. And all of a sudden at the beginning of this year, the Indian Supreme Court was like, ban? There was never a ban. Which of course made a couple of people angry, and other people like, oh, okay, so we can resume operations without doing something illegally. And this has caused a lot of people to jump back into the cryptocurrency space. Speaking to Cointelegraph, the CEO of CoinSwitch said, CoinSwitch started in India, intending to innovate for the Indian market. But due to the RBI ban, we decided to focus on the global markets by aggregating top exchanges to provide crypto-to-crypto conversions at the best rates. We believe that there is a huge untapped potential in the Indian crypto ecosystem. Yeah, I mean, you have, what was it, over 1 billion people? If you get 1% of that or 2% of that into the cryptocurrency market, that's a lot of money sloshing around back and forth. Not surprising at all that you have to go through the KYC or AML stuff for it. It's to be expected, especially in a country that has not shown favorable viewing to crypto before in the past. It's nice to see that March, April, and we are now in May have passed, or we are still in May, you know what I'm saying? And we haven't had any major backlash from the Indian government and or Reserve Bank as of now. Like a lot of other cryptocurrency exchanges have opened. It's cool that they're going to have 100 coins. That's absolutely wonderful as well. Let's hope that this all continues, because it was believed before, I think it was India, Russia, who's kind of out of the running. It was India, Russia, I think it was South Korea, and there was one other country, not China, who were expected to be the some of the biggest players in the cryptocurrency space. If you have 1 billion people who now have access to this new fantastic way of money making, that they would jump into it as well. And that's probably the reason why the Reserve Bank of India was like, nope, none of you can touch that, because if people start to get into crypto and they don't want to use your paper money anymore, the nicest word I could find, yeah, then they start doing that. I mean, this has been happening all over the world. Like, we've seen an uptick as well before we had news that there are a huge amount of people who prefer to use stable coins as an actual means of payment, or cryptocurrencies themselves. And that stops people from using the money you're printing. That's a big no-no for them. Anyway, good job, India. I hope they keep it up. Yeah, nothing else to say, but I hope they keep it up. And tying loosely or directly into this, Bitcoin trading in sub-Saharan Africa is on an historic upswing at the moment. Overall, Bitcoin trading across peer-to-peer platforms has surpassed even the peak of the 2017 bull run, according to data from analytics site Useful Tulips. This is part of the reason why I also am... I sometimes have questions as far as the cryptocurrency space is doing exceedingly well. By certain metrics, we're doing a lot better than even we were doing in 2017. So this is a lot of the reason why I wonder sometimes why cryptocurrency prices are not higher than they currently are, or we keep having these really weird days where prices end up going down. If we know that there's a multitude more people right now who are in the cryptocurrency space, more fiat options, more fiat ramps, more ways for people to get into the cryptocurrency space and or buy, sell, hold, and trade, it doesn't matter. Easier to get into the cryptocurrency space. We have more people in the cryptocurrency space right now than we did before, but the prices still remain slightly low, or we get anyone who's like remotely bearish. When anyone talks about they're bearish based on anything within the cryptocurrency space, I'm like, you're not paying attention to where we were in 2015, 16, 17, and just how far we've come. We had no multi-enterprise billionaire corporation hedge funds who were even thinking or saying the word Bitcoin out loud. And now we have several. We did not have a company who owned 2% of all the Bitcoin in the world. And we did not, for what it's worth, have Jack Dorsey telling people that he was buying $10,000 worth of Bitcoin per day, or maxing out his amount that he could actually buy. There's a little chart right there. Over the last week, Ghana, Kenya, and the Central African region have reached an all-time high in terms of peer-to-peer Bitcoin trading, while Nigeria came very close to breaking its previous record as well. I think Nigeria is supposed to be the largest place, forgive me if I'm incorrect. I think Nigeria is supposed to be the largest place in Africa that is crypto trading back and forth. I think they're meant to be the epicenter. I think it was South Africa before, but now I think Nigeria is it. Like I said, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the news I read before. According to Useful Tulips, creator Matt Alborg, the surge in interest is potentially twofold: the current state of the developing economies and the expectations derived from the upcoming Bitcoin halving. He said, holy smokes, that sounds like me. Sub-Saharan Africa had its best 10 million volume week ever over on peer-to-peer exchanges, stomping the weekly record set in December 2017. Nigeria is the... Oh, yeah, I was right. Nigeria is the queen of regional Bitcoin trading, with some $7.2 million exchanged during the last week. Behind it are Kenya and South... I was right. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Kenya and South Africa. I like shook my hand in the air. I looked crazy. Kenya and South Africa with 1.6 million and 1.1 million exchanged respectively. While I mentioned this before, we had news last month, a couple of weeks ago, that trading in South America had also surged. And we got like the conversion numbers from the pesos and from the this and from the bolivars, and people were like, $3 million isn't a lot. And I'm like, yeah, when your money is hyperinflating, $3 million is a huge amount of money. So $7.2 million exchanged during the course of a week may not seem like a lot to you, but in countries where their fiat currencies may not be doing exceedingly well and people are trying to figure out a way to secure their wealth, and they are also, don't forget, we're very lucky. We live in countries, I assume you live in this country, where we are allowed to actually have bank accounts, where we have access to banking networks, where we have access to be able to go and exchange money at will. That's not how it works for billions of other people around the world. Not saying that these countries in particular are hard-pressed or are not able to do so, which people also like to misconstrue my words when I say something about a certain particular place. The point is, we forget sometimes that we have it relatively easily, like we exceedingly easier than many other places in the world. So what's important to note is that there are other people around the world who are getting into crypto. If we were the only people on this planet getting into crypto, well, the cryptocurrency prices will be dropping exponentially. When these people around the world get into crypto by fractions of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin price goes up, they start buying more Bitcoin, so do their friends, so do their families, and this causes the tidal wave to kind of continue. And it's also just my own personal basic philosophy. I like people who are in countries that are usually excluded from the financial system to create their own financial system. We went over this in 2017, 2018, 2019. While once again, we are very lucky, the people from SWIFT and all the other money transmission services don't really care for South America or Africa because they deem them as places that are not worth it to even either open up banks there or to simply include them in the world economic system. So when we have something that was created 11 years ago that allows people to download something, an app on their phone, open up their computer, and have access to a new world economy, that is absolutely fantastic, and I hope it continues. It's also one of the reasons why I hope that Bitcoin actually succeeds through all of this this experiment, if you will, in the new form of money, because I want people to have the access to money that they want or that they need to be able to transfer money at will all the time, not having to worry about sanctions or anything like that. It's absolute nonsense that you would think that people aren't simply worth it, and therefore, why would we open up banks there? Why would we allow them to? This is why M-Pesa has taken off in Africa, because it allows people to be able to transact money through their mobile phones, because they were completely shut off from a monetary system, so they had to essentially create their own. And Bitcoin does the exact same thing. You download something on your phone, on your computer, you have access to the same exact money and value that 7.4 billion other people on the planet also have, and it's through Bitcoin. This is one of the huge reasons why I hope that Bitcoin succeeds. I mean, I won't lie. A good 15 to 20% of that is because I'd like to buy a house in Fiji. But the other part is also, like, I love the idea of people getting rich. That's the only way to kind of say it. Anyway, the point is, India and Africa are seeing huge amounts of trading volumes. I assume, once again, these are going to drop off a bit. Day or two after the halving, if not a week or so after the halving. But once we see a pickup whenever in Bitcoin's price once again, expect these numbers to really start surging. The fact that we are even above 2017 levels, it's insane, because we have not yet entered an insane bull run as far as like 15-20% per day moving up. We are still currently below 10,000. So imagine if we end up hitting a $16, $17, $18,000 Bitcoin. This is when things are going to get really insane. But yeah. As always, a very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Utopia 569, Yasha Harari, Moonman High XRP, The Pothead, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Stoyer, Chongololo, Tsongololo, A Bibliophobia, The Animal Reader, John Sarson, Nostromo, Todd, Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mohair, Moroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Adobo, Nicholas, One Earth, One Peace, One Love, Damien, Set, Suna, Nick, Kanaya, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick, Mangialavodi, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Chest, Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arfmedic 17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Ramacho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and hold on, I have to sneeze. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to every single person out there who is a member of the channel, and thank you to everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links. Thank you. And I mean that sincerely. Thank you. At the moment, for those of you not looking at the screen as I was scrolling by, the cryptocurrency market is in a very weird spot right now. I don't know how to deal with it. Bitcoin is currently at $9,613, give or take a few bucks, depending on which cryptocurrency exchange or prices you're looking at. It is currently down by 2.69%. However, on the flip side, altcoins are moving up. Their Satoshi prices are in green. ZERP is currently up by 2%. Litecoin is almost up by 2%. Tezos is up by 4%. Chainlink is up by 9%. Where are some of the other ones? Neo's up by 12%. IOTA's up by 12%. Cosmos is up by 3%. Zcash 4%. It's looking a little interesting. I don't think 0x is up by 35%. I feel like logically, with all the energy and attention around Bitcoin should probably be the one that's up by 36%. Alas, the cryptocurrency space doth not make much senseth. Yeah, it's really weird. A lot of the altcoins are, dare I use the word, surging. 19% is definitely a surge. We haven't heard from Augor in a while. It's been more than a few moons. Anyway, yeah, maybe Bitcoin is gearing up for something fantastical. Maybe it is exhausted. maybe people are just trying to get extra gains from altcoins right now, because maybe who knows? Who the actual heck knows? Either way, it's fascinating to watch, especially when none of them are really following the same pattern. Some of them are down by 0, down by 2, up by 36, down by 10, up by 2. Interesting times indeed. I do hope that you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. People were asking me, and I apologize that I have not done so in the last couple of days, to start making a second video again. I am currently working on another project, and it is taking up a lot of my energy, a lot of my time. I'm trying to go on friendly 19 walks with friends, get out of the house, do things, and I come back, I'm completely exhausted. I've been meaning to make second and or third videos, but the life is just drained out of me the last couple of days. I've been doing too much because I'm trying to compensate for what I could not do the last couple of months. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.